Okay, everyone, good morning and welcome back to Hippo Cup 9 as the sun is rising on the first full day of our round of 16 weekend. We are getting under with our second match of this round in the upper half of the bracket. It's Team Grease Monkey facing off against Team Nation, the winners of Group B, the second seed out of Group G, in what looks on paper to be a pretty fun and competitive matchup. So I'm excited to be getting into this one. I'm this one guy. Joining me for this match this morning is going to be Torva0. Good morning to Torva. Welcome in. Our thoughts, Grease Monkey, Nation.
Hello. Yeah, good morning. I'm very intrigued with this match. As you said, I think it's going to be a very interesting matchup. I think this is definitely going to be one of, if not maybe the closest matchup I think we'll see at least today, where I think these teams definitely can go back and forth with a lot of their picks, and I'm very interested to see what the overall strategy is going to be between them. So, I mean, I've not got too many main things I can focus on just yet, but again, I'm just very interested to see what it is, and this is going to be, at minimum, a decent matchup to see what's going on. But we do get the first bands coming out. We get to see the first band coming in from Nation, getting rid of that DT5, which is a bit unfortunate, getting rid of Endless Tuima Park, which is, I mean, it's an iconic map. Everyone knows it. But it is unfortunately going to be getting it deleted from the pool for this match. And then getting rid of DT6 as well, getting rid of Not Caring by Jeff, which is upsetting to see, let's say the least.
And with the Nomad 5 ban coming in, we're now at 3 for 4 of the same maps being banned out in the two matches that will have been played. Last night we had DT5 and 6, Nomads 4 and 5, and here we have DT5 and 6, Nomad 5. If Grease Monkey bans Nomad 4, I'm going to be very sad, because those are 4 of the either funniest or coolest maps in the pool, with those double times being just very Hippo Cup maps, and the DT4 or the Nomad 4 and 5 just being, I think, very cool maps to watch. So gonna be a little sad if that happens, but it is interesting, looking at these teams. They had, when you play as many maps as you do in group stage, you end up having, I think, a decent number of scores in common. And something that was interesting about a lot of their common maps, they had 5 of them, is that their scores were kind of up and down. Take, for example, on the Free Mod 1 for Grease Monkey, they had 2 scores on that map. They were 4th overall and 32nd overall on it. On Hard Rock 1, Nation had a 10th overall score, but they also had a 34th overall team score. So maybe looking for a little bit of consistency as we go forward into the bracket stage to get those upper level performances rather than the lower level ones.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the map pool a bit, and I have just realized the DT6. Why is it 7 seconds long, and why is it 600 BPM?
Welcome to Hippo Cup.
What is...
Welcome to Hippo Cup.
Yeah, I'm really upset that DT6 is banned, because I'm really interested in what it is. Like, we've seen a lot of short maps already in this iteration, but 7 seconds is, like, a different story levels of short. But we do get to see a different ban. The No More 4 is being kept on the table, and instead they're getting rid of the Hard Rock 1. So the bans are set. Getting rid of the a bit more uncomfortable aim, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, I mean, I'm very intrigued to see like the reasoning behind that ban.
Yeah, I mean, Hard Rock 1 was a map that Nation played in all 3 of their matches, but it was picked against them in all 3 of those matches. So if you're Grease Monkey, you're not like trying to maybe straight up take it away from them. That being said, the Hard Rock 1 in groups did have some similarities to this Hard Rock 1, right? Both kind of a straightforward aim map, a little bit of awkwardness, but Grease Monkey got 19th and 28th, whereas Nation had a 10th and an 18th. So maybe just feeling like aim is something that they don't want to necessarily have to worry about. I expect Nation to be more into picking the kind of awkward maps in the aim, so yeah, not entirely sure on that particular one, but we'll find out maybe with the pick strategy, since Grease Monkey does have first pick to back up that last ban.
Yeah, with them being first pick, I am intrigued to see what they want to go into, because, okay, they didn't even give me a chance to make the guesstimate, and honestly, No Mod 1 was not going to be the first thing I would have said. I wasn't expecting, you know, some overall triangular aim, the high BPM, just overall stuff. I wasn't ready for that. But you know what? If you want to start your match by swinging, this is definitely a way to do it.
I like this Nomad one. I think it's very good at you know, doing what you expect a Nomad one to do. It's super straightforward, very comfortable aim, and does have that kind of tapping strain finger control element with all the triples. So I think it's a good way to establish just a mechanical baseline in the match. So let's assume for a second that they banned the Hard Rock one not because it's an aim map, but because there's something in it they don't like, but they do want to pick into mechanics. This is a good place to go, and it opens up, you know, several other options if it goes well for them. So that's, I think, got to be the approach here.
Yeah, I mean, it's like kind of like a poking the bear kind of map, like just to see where you can draw the line on, like, if this map goes well, you can go full on into, you know, anything mechanical and just kind of abuse that as much as you can, and if it doesn't go well, maybe, you know, retreat a small bit and then completely change up the pick strategy, see how it goes. I think that might be the best play for them going with this map, but then again, they could just be feeling confident and just want to go straight to an L1 and just, even if maybe they might be on the weaker end for mechanics, if they're feeling confident, they might just want to full swing into it and see how it goes on.
Well, we had this played yesterday as well. We had 3 FCs in that lobby, so, and several other S ranks. So definitely a score or a map that people are going to be capable of putting up really good scores on, and also a very good, just a cool song. So we're going to get into map number 1 here. We're going to see how we feel on some aim with a whole bunch of triples. We've got Minefield Surfer, aka Lucrease. We've got Penguinsy, Grippe, and Melwem. They're going to be facing Evert, Nev, Marius, I'm not positive, and Super Nye, which has to be a very recent name change, because I know I updated all the player names like 2 days ago, and that is not one of them that is listed. So that is the artist that we have listed as Sparkly Fairy 000. Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, regardless, we get into it. We go map 1, and let's see how this match starts off with some very straightforward mechanics to open things up.
Yeah, I mean, you have Lucrease and Penguinsy running the hidden for the side of Grease Monkey, and Eva and Nev running the hidden for that side. The map does get its chance to kick off. We see very 2 early misses coming from Marjus and Melwem and Penguinsy, so 3 misses already in the very intro of the map. Shouldn't cause too many major problems as long as Grease Monkey can recover and catch back up, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, especially with 3 early misses.
Yeah, that intro can trip you up just a little on some of the aim patterns, but here we're going to get into that first tapping section that we were mentioning before the map started. Let's see how people fare on it. It's Penguinsy that will be the only one suffering from the tapping. Marius, though, follows up right after before the Ki starts. Not what you want to see for Nation, but they do still have 3 FCs against 2 and a near FC. Score's going to be pretty stable, just barely in the middle.
Yeah, and with a miss coming in from Penguinsy as well, it's going to be moving more and more in favor of Nation, especially with another miss coming in from Grippe. So it is literally on to Lucrease being almost a one-man army, but with Melwem also there to recover as well. So, no, actually a small bit more help. So 2-man army, and Super Nye does actually also go down. So it's Eva and Nev versus Melwem and Minefield Surfer, and with Nation still having almost about 2 million lead, it's just going to be looking onto the side of Nation to find those 2 misses that it needs to find. But Penguinsy not helping too much on the recovery, finding another miss does make it a bit more of a problem as we do get through this build up into the next Ki, and Grippe misses just before it as well.
Yeah, this is a rough go of things for Grease Monkey on their own first pick. Remember, this was their pick, but Penguinsy really struggling. Grippe with several breaks to his name as well. And, you know, Lucrease and Melwem can only do so much here, down 4 million score. Now Evert, Nev still holding on to those full combos, and Marius and Super Nye both holding some really good recoveries as well. It is Super Nye to fall, but that lead is, that lead is a lot less comfortable now as down goes Nev. This just could have gotten interesting. Let's see. Evert does hold, Marius holds on as well, but that's only not even a 4 million score lead, and the combo lead now in favor of Grease Monkey into the last section of map.
Yeah, there's more than enough time to catch up, especially with the combos going. I mean, Penguinzini's still finding a few misses. It'd be nice for them to hold combo, make that recovery a bit easier, but it seems to be easier said than done, as the score lead is slowly closing, and Nev does find another miss, but so does Grippe, so it's still Melum and Lucreece both holding on for their side, but it is going to be on either Ilmayu to find those misses if they want that to close quick enough, but it's still about 3 million coming to the closing moments of the map, and it's still close. I'm not entirely sure if there's going to be enough time for it to flip over last moment, especially with Eva holding on such strong combo, but a miss at the end and still wasn't enough to close 3 million. The opportunity was there, but unfortunately Eva didn't miss early enough to make it a possible recovery for the other side. But still a very strong score coming in from Lucreece individually.
Yeah, Lucreece on the 2-100 FC, but he just didn't get help, man. I try not to be too negative, but I gotta call out Grease Monkey's pick strategy here a little bit. For an opening pick, to have somebody go in for it and put up 12 misses with a max combo of 219, that's a little concerning. I don't know what happened to Penguinzi there. You hope he can get things settled over the course of the match, because that is not how you want to be looking on your team's first pick. And it does hand a break point right over to the Nation, because if Penguinzi just plays average for the lobby, right, if he just plays average for the lobby, they win that pretty handily. But instead, having that much of a struggle on it cost them very dearly there. And we'll see if Nation can take advantage. As kind of expected, I think, in this matchup, they are going to opt into one of the very awkward, gimmicky types of picks in the pool by first selecting Chocobo. Everyone knows, I think, what we're getting into with Chocobo. It's CS6, it is AR6, it is OD6. It's very small circles, it's very low AR, and it's that super, super old style of map. And it's something that I think Nation seems to have liked in group stage, is the more gimmicky reading and awkward types of maps in these pools.
Yeah, I mean, with it being free mod, I think you can get a small bit of leeway, but this just feels anti-mod all the way through. Like, you want to pick Hard Rock, sure, the approach rate might be easier, but you're still dealing with CS, I think, 7.2 with Hard Rock. You want to play Hidden, it's AR6, have fun. Like, this would be something I feel like Emerald Ages would have, like, a field day on, but it's still not easy by any means, and it's definitely be interesting to see what they bring in for Grease Monkey there, because, as you were mentioning, you know, Penguinzi maybe not feeling up to it right now. The strategy of poking the bear to see if, you know, the mechanics are going to be the play, maybe not paying out too well for them, putting them in a pretty bad spot very early in, but you know what? We see a breakpoint early in, maybe we could see a second coming in free mod too, but it's definitely going to be a very hard-fought battle if that's going to be the case against Team My Nation.
And we saw a really, really exciting affair on this map last night in the New Zealand versus Metalis Bald Spot match, where JGLF dropped a, I believe, 1-100 FC on Nomad to really carry New Zealand to preserve their sweep in the match and close it out 6-0, because Metalis Bald Spot were able to put up a very solid team score, and it took, you know, a superhero to carry against that. So we'll see if we get something again like this in this matchup, where, you know, you have maybe one or two players on the rosters who are going to be at the absolute peak of comfort on this map, or if we get something, you know, a little more team-wide, where it's well supported across everyone, as it looks like we should be getting into it in just a moment here. I am excited for some more Chocobo. I hate this ending. Okay. There we go. Oh,
Yeah, I don't think I've seen this map.
Lucreece wants another go at Nomad 1 because he wants to drop the SS. Yeah, it's small circles, it's linear, it's got some triples, it's got some reading. I feel like a lot of people are probably familiar. And let's see, we get the double Hard Rock on Lucreece and Melwem. We get the Hidden on Supernai, Hard Rock on Nev, Nomads on the other four. And early struggles for Evert getting things going, but as well as Nev. Melwem dropping a break as well, but it's 3 FCs to 2 to start things off in favor of Grease Monkey.
Yeah, oh, Tablet also does unfortunately drop. Yeah, holding combo this map does seem like it's going to be a good bit of a struggle, especially with, you know, either the no mods or the hiddens. The Hard Rocks, I think, might be an easier time, which feels really wrong to say it, you know, Hard Rock on CS7, but I say that, and everyone breaks, I'm pretty sure, except for Eva and Lucreece, who Lucrece right now is just kind of going crazy for a showing, just completely going off on their capabilities and just bringing in the fight is the best way I can describe it, giving them a very solid lead as well. Is Yvette does catch up a small bit on the combo, but not just enough yet.
Yeah, we're looking very much in the direction of Lucrece on this one. That Hard Rock FC leading the way for Grease Monkey as his teammates have some trouble. There he goes down, and look around the lobby. The only combo left there for a moment was Evert, but he falls as well, and this is just not going well for anybody. It is Hunder, the only combo over 70. Look at all those X's. It's just red X's across the screen as far as the eye can see. This is a little bit of a wet noodle fight. Both these teams really struggling on the pick.
Yeah, this pick is just a devious one. Like, it is so difficult to hold on, as you can clearly see, and it might end up being a battle of that early combo. And if that is the case, I do think it will stay in the favor of Grease Monkey, unless someone on Nation does just go absolutely crazy. And you know what? Avert is doing, well, was doing exactly that before that miss, but it's being matched by Lucrece at the minimum, who is now, I won't say now leading the lobby, but honestly, since the get-go, they were leading this lobby, and even with that ending break, it doesn't really matter. There's nothing to fight back against. You're not claiming 700k score and nothing remaining. Like, just an insanely, you know, disgusting score from Lucrece to, you know what, fight back the break point. They lost the first point. They took it personally. They saw what happened. And they decided to fight for their life for the free mod 2. And it did pay out quite well for them, even if it was Nation's pick.
What a weird start to the match, dude. I don't even know. Just a good performance from Lucrece. That's the takeaway from this map. I mean, nobody else. What was that? What the highest score other than him was not even 1 million points. The only player in the lobby to score over 1 million. And with the margin of victory being 670k, that was pretty much just all on his shoulders. So that's two, as you're saying, two very good scores in this match to start things off for Lucrece. Despite giving up the break point on the first map, he does help them get the break point back on map number 2. And we're just on a level playing field here. 1 point apiece. Second pick to come for Grease Monkey. Perhaps something that will work out a little better for them than the Nomad 1 did. Where the question then becomes, do you go next? Do you go for more mechanics despite losing the Nomad 1? Or do you try to switch it up and throw in something a little different?
I say, like, if when you have a player like Chris, I think you could risk going straight into mechanics, because obviously, you know, proven by that first map, they can definitely play them and, you know, play out discussing scores, but with it being, you know, 4v4, you have to keep an eye on keep, you know, in mind that it's also the rest of the teams. I think you want to go something that tones down the mechanics a small bit, but switches up a bit more, and they do opt for the DT1, going for a bit more uncomfortable DT, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, they're just gonna stick with the basics here. You know, it's another one where if you've seen one map, you've seen them all within the niche, and this is just Senya DT. So they're saying we're gonna stick with some pretty basic tapping and light aim. It's only AR10. It's not one of the several 10.3 maps in this pool. It's only 240 BPM, so it's not like the tapping is crazy fast. This is, again, just we picked Nomad 1, even though it didn't go well. We're going to stick in a similar type of vein with our second pick, and we're going to hope for something better out of Penguinzy, I think. Well, you know, obviously struggled a lot with Nomad 1, maybe wasn't quite warmed up, maybe wasn't quite prepped, or whatever the case may be, had one bad run. So we'll see if he can recover from that, and if so, maybe the DT1 can go better than the Nomad 1 did.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, you know, again, one-off unfortunate moment with bad score, maybe mispositioned tablet type thing. But, you know, this is honestly going to be the case for Penguinzy to showcase that, you know, that score was just a fluke of a bad moment, just to now go absolutely crazy with their performance. That's what I'm hoping for, you know, because that confidence is regained for them. But then, I was looking at Nation, who, you know, did win off, well, almost winning off the uncomfortableness of Penguinzy on the first map. Maybe with that changing, possibly, it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. With you saying this being a bit more of the tapping focus, I'm not too surprised with who I'm seeing in the lobby too much. I mean, Grease Monkey coming with Lucrece, who has been, honestly, one of, if not the carry so far. Penguinzy, just there to, you know, reevaluate and just bring themselves back to the level they know they can play. Malum, who's also been in quite often, and Honda now jumping in as well. And then for Sad Nation, you got Marius, who's been playing quite well, Turquoise, Eva, and Super Nye again.
I'm excited to see how this one goes. You know, Grease Monkey, if they're going this route of just picking the mechanics maps, they do still have a couple options, but they would definitely like this one to go better for them than that Nomad one did if they are gonna head that direction. And it's a decently long feeling map, right? 2 minutes, 13 seconds, but it's pretty combo dense. A lot of tapping like you just saw in those couple of bursts. So you'll build up some pretty sizable scores over the course of this map's duration. And the first break is going to come from Nation. Marius to fall, and the accuracy not looking promising for him or for Evert at 94 and 95%. We'll see how those pan out going forward, but it will be a slight advantage to Grease Monkey on the 4 FCs against 3.
Yeah, I mean, Grease Monkey are fully on the attack at this point, and Nation are just having to hopefully recover Marius's score and, you know, avert accuracy, hoping those two can climb fast enough, and just praying for the downfall of the side of Grease Monkey, as they seem to be holding on quite comfortably right now. I mean, all of them sitting about that 98-99% accuracy mark. Honda coming in with a devastating 99.56 right now, as there's still the 4-way full combo going on, but the fight from Nation is still going on. 3-way FC still, even with Evert's lower accuracy, but the accuracy from the other two of Super 9 and Turk is still doing quite well, as you know, on that side of things, but it's looking a bit scary for Nation. As this continues going forward, that combo scaling is just going to keep becoming more and more punishing. That 4-way full combo going to get scarier and scarier.
Yeah, it's about a 270 combo lead, but there goes Blue Crease. Super Nye, though, unfortunately, will trade it out. Hunter the next to fall. So now you've got 2 FCs against 2, but you have a big backing combo on your side as Nation. With Marius, you're only down 3 million score. If those 3 players all hold, this combo should be enough to bring this over. There's a lot of combo in the map, as mentioned, and even coming into the end, but there goes Turquoise, and that might have just signed the death note for Nation, unfortunately. Grease Monkey still on the double FC. That is good enough to match. As we come down to the waning seconds, it's only a couple million, but they built up a lead and they're able to hold on to it. And that is the first pick won by the selecting team now on map 3 of this match to take that 2-1 lead.
Yeah, the first pick finally won by your own team, and as I was hoping from before, Penguin D has actually also, you know, reinstated themselves as a solid player in this match, bringing in a support, well, a full combo as well to help with Malum. So, you know what, they've brought themselves back. They've shown, you know, that first map, a bit of a fluke. Even with the differences in this map, they still can play well, and they can still bring the heat that they need to. But it is Nation's turn to try and answer back, to look at that point and go, okay, maybe we don't pick something like that. Maybe we just go somewhere else and just go back to something that worked and just pick straight into something more aimey. Because that's what worked for them, right? Even though it wasn't their pick, it's something that worked. So I feel like that would be the avenue, at least for me, that I would think of going down. But during that, I'm interested to see what they do actually go into.
Yeah, you know, it's always interesting, right, when a team wins a break point on a particular skill set, to see if they want to go back into more maps in that, or if they just stick with their own pick strategy even after giving away the breakpoint after. You know, you pick this free mod 2 and Chocobo with the tiny circles. Is your next option, you know, something like the Hard Rock 4, right, which is also a small circle, forced small circle map, CS 6.5 for everyone. You know, do you opt into going somewhere like that to keep that kind of feeling? You know, this is a big pool, a lot of skill sets, so it does mean that the world is a little bit your oyster, right? It gives you a lot of options. It gives you ways to really change your angle of attack if something doesn't go well for you, new directions to go, new skill sets to choose from. So there's a lot left to be guessed at, I suppose, going into this next selection, because it really could be any number of things.
Oh, but they do opt for the Nomad 4, going into, I believe, the Necromancer map. Yeah, beyond the Ave. Yeah, going into what I believe hybrid tech, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, this is a super cool map, dude. I was looking, doing my pool research yesterday, and that was just the biggest takeaway from me on this map. Was it is just really cool. It's a lot of kind of elements of circle tech to it. Some kind of that awkward type of tapping and finger control you'll see in circle tech maps, but with it being a silica, of course, you do expect some slider tech to be thrown in as well. Especially as the map kind of goes onward, it builds into some of the slider tech elements, and really, to my eye, this map looks very hard, but unfortunately, I am not a player at the level of the guys in this map, so for all I know, it could be easier for them than I think it is. But it looks pretty difficult, so I'm excited to see how the players hold up to the challenge.
Yeah, I love that perspective, because I'm always in the same boat. It's like, okay, this map's really difficult. Surely no insane scores happen. And then suddenly, like, 4 FCs appear out of nowhere, and it's just like, what do you mean you full combo that? Hello? Like, I don't think we're bad by any means, but the level is so exponential, it makes no sense. Like, you give me this no mod 4, and I'm turning around and saying, if I B rank, I'm more than happy with that score. I'd consider that a god mode. But these players look at B rank and they just go, that was the lowest of low rolls possible. So it's going to be interesting to see what the average score is for this, because again, difficult map, shouldn't be easily full comboable, but again, been proven wrong on many occasions every time I made that prediction, so I'm interested to see how it goes. But with it being a cool map, I mean, you just get to witness, great players playing a great map, having a great time. You can't go wrong.
No, you really can't. And I think that's like what I love about Hippo Cup, is that we just get to see typically a pretty wide variety of very cool maps. That's the pooling ethos of this tournament is really heavily invested into how can we make sure the players have a good time, and this hopefully will be one example of that. It's also a map style that really neither of these teams played in group stage, right? No Nomad 4 plays between these two teams in their 5 combined matches in groups. So we'll see how some more tech goes for them. See if Lucrece can continue on his rampage in this match. We'll see what the nation can do to answer it, trying to win their own pick for the first time on their second selection. It's an early break from Melver, and that was a lot of resets. Yeah, you see these early circle tech elements, the awkward aim required to, kind of jump between the bursts into the sliders can catch you out, and it catches a lot of players out.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't ready for a jump scare of just seeing majority of players finding breaks, but unfortunately that is what happened, and Melva and Gripper are both struggling to find those recoveries, but Penguins is actually doing a very solid job on the recovery, even if the bottom 2 players are, struggling to catch up. Eva does drop a decently major combo on the side of Nation, which is a bit scary, but without the 2 recoveries on the other side, it's going to be a long battle between them. Super Knight also finding quite a few moments of struggle there, and if Penguinsy didn't find an unfortunate break there and Lucrece, it looked like it was about to flip back over, but yeah, you've got Evert now on that recovery of 200 combo to lead the lobby, and it's just going to do God's work for them. Unfortunate break.
And this is going to be kind of the first time that we don't see Lucrece in a position to really single-handedly carry a pick. And he is, not getting a ton of help from his team either. And it does appear that the difficulty of this map is actually bearing out. So I do appear to have correctly judged that this map is pretty difficult, as you see nobody able to really build up a big combo, but we're coming already down to the end, and it's just been Nation. As you said, they just were able to establish some combos here and there, and Grease Monkey didn't have answers. And that is the story of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, Super Knight, especially on the ending as well, bringing in quite a disastrous score for the other side, of pulling in almost 3 million individually. Same with Tablette, and that late 418 combo mixed with, I think, a very early strong combo as well. I mean, just strong scores for the side of Nation. There were B ranks. I can play the lobby.
There were. The players wanted to throw you a bone.
Yes. Even if it's a low roll, I could technically play, even though I wouldn't put up a 1.4 mil. I think I'd struggle there, but yeah, I mean, very solid pick from Nation there. Does get them the point they were looking for, and it goes back to Grease Monkey, are back on this back and forth battle between them, and they immediately answer to the DT2. They saw the DT1 worked, and they saw that it worked out fantastically, so they just decided to just basically double down on it, which is honestly understandable.
Yeah, really, they were undeterred by the fact that they lost the Nomad 1, and they're saying, we're just going to keep going with our mechanics picks strategy. This is boy, this is one of the harder mechanical maps in the pool. Some decently solid aim and some pretty draining tapping sections as well. I know it's only 216 BPM, so it's not the fastest tapping, but there's a couple of very long streams and a bunch of bursts in addition to some reasonably challenging aim. So really, as you said, just doubling down on raw mechanics, which they've got a couple options still if they want to keep going on this. I mean, there'll be the No Mod 2. There's a couple remaining DTs, so there's even Free Mod 3 if you count that. It's a high BPM aim, so you can kind of see where the pick strategy is leading us for Grease Monkey, and if it continues working, it's going to be up to Nation to try to recover the way they did on the No Mod 1 to find another break point.
Yeah, I mean, the No Mod 1 was looking a bit scary for the future of their side, but then the DT1 came around and they look like they adapted quite quickly for us. So yeah, seeing them possibly after this map going either down the line with the DTs, yeah, as you mentioned, even the 3 mod 3, it's looking a lot better for them than it was after the first map. So I'm intrigued to see if that is what they want to, continue the route down, or go down the route of the No Mod 2s, maybe even possible No Mod 3 if they're feeling comfortable on the ult, and just going down either tapping or aim, or even trying to find the maps where they do mix, kind of like this in the DT1. As the players get ready, and yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to see what the picking strategy evolves into as this match definitely continues.
If they win this, I'm gonna be more and more confused by the fact that they banned out Hard Rock 1, I gotta say, because it feels like that would have fit into their pick strategy pretty well with it being relatively heavily aim focused, but I don't know, something about that map I guess just did not work out in Grease Monkey's mind. So we'll go into another DT pick here. It's DT2. It's Lucrece, Penguinzy, Hunter, and Melwam again. Marius, Evert, Nev, and Turquoise on the side of the Nation. And there goes Marius early on. We've seen a few players breaking on this intro. It's okay. Hunter is going to trade it out. Those little kick slider jumps can catch you, man. It's very easy to just have a little bit of a slider break. And so it's going to be dead even. Combo ever so slightly in favor of Nation to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, intro sliders of doom and despair, just everything to find the misses on, but it seems the players are caught up now. They are ready to continue going in as the map does get it started. The first long stream of the map does fully kick off. We see some accuracy drops coming in from Avert. Oh, major understream, which does end up going into a miss, unfortunately, but the only player to find a miss on that long stream and the major accuracy drops. Nev also finding a miss for their side, so early lead for Grease Monkey is Honda was on a solid recovery, but unfortunately misses right into the jumps. So does Melwam, so does Nev, and so does Maru, so 2 misses either side for the mid-section jumps, I guess.
Yeah, I think the big thing to look at here, though, is going to be the accuracy at this point. You've got 98s on Lucrece, Penguinzy, and Hunter. Meanwhile, you've got 92 Marius, 89 Evert, 96 is on Nev and Turquoise. Clearly the comfort level higher for Grease Monkey, and at this point, it's being reflected in the score. As we head into the next stream section, it is imperative that Nation all hold through here, and they're not going to manage to do that. Evert falls apart, Turquoise falls apart as well. That might just be map ending right there. Even though Melwam broke, Penguinzy and Lucrece both held the FCs, and there's just not going to be anything Nation can do, even with a third of the map left.
Yeah, I mean, the score lead's increasing quickly, and it's closing in on almost 10 million difference between them. I mean, there's a third of the map remaining, but there's no major combos inside Nation. They have Marius, which has 400, which would be, quite useful for them if it wasn't 2 full combos on the side of Grease Monkey. And 2 full combos, mind you, on very strong accuracies to bat. So that score is just going to keep getting more and more elevated. And by this point, especially with that miss as well coming from Marius, unlucky on the slow section, I feel you, Marius. I feel you. With that miss coming in, I'd argue it's pretty much impossible to fight back at this point with that score difference.
Yeah, this is just not a Nation map. I think the tapping requirement just a little too much for them, as that was where they had the most trouble. Despite the fact their aim is decently solid, the tapping not there. Grease Monkey gonna drop another double FC. Lucrece and Penguinzy continuing on this rampage. Both of those players performing super well in these mechanics maps. And that's a big, big win. That's 23 million score to the good for Grease Monkey. And a 3-2 lead for it. Doing well. The little hiccup on their first pick, but they've done well in the 2 picks of their own since then to take this lead and keep things on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, I mean, that pick, though, does also then, have to ask the question of what was the idea behind getting rid of the Hard Rock 1? Because, you mentioned it at the start, and it was like, already a bit weird. got through a lot of these maps, you get to this DT2, and now it's more... Was it a misban, or was there something in that map that was so catastrophic they didn't even bother wanting to risk it? I'm not entirely too sure, but it seems to still be working out for them for now. But time could change as the maps do whittle down, but again, with it being Hippo Cup, there's still going to be a lot of maps even towards the ending, and there's still so much variety remaining. And with it being Nation's pick, I am intrigued to see what they do try to go into, you know, just to fight back and continue this just back and forth, the one-to-one fight this has been so far.
Well, it's going to be the Nomad 3, so mention that as a map that maybe Grease Monkey could even think about, but instead, it is going to be Nation thinking about the Nomad 3 here. And this is an interesting one. It's, again, Nation kind of opting into the more awkward maps in the pool. It's an alt pick, but it's got some strange patterns going on. It's got some bursts. It's got some 1/6 finger control, some sliders thrown in as well. So, again, you know, you can really see how clearly delineated the pick strategies are between the two teams. Grease Monkey picking into the mechanics, Nation picking away from the mechanics, and it's worked out for them on their most recent pick on the Nomad 4, so working our way up the pool into the Nomad 3. We'll see if it keeps on going in a good fashion for them.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued to how this Nomad 3 goes, because, I mean, I've always enjoyed watching Nomad 3s. God forbid I have to play them, C ranks inbound. But, you know, watching them is a different story. They're always a good bit of fun, and they're always something... I must admit, all maps always feel the most unique. Even if they have the same pattern, there's just something about them that feels new. And I don't know how to explain it. But it's always fun to see it, and I feel like this Nomad 3 does fit into that category again. But my experience on this Nomad 3 in particular is a bit different. I've only ever seen this map played, and by that I mean I've only ever played it with DT, and that was because I was forced to in the middle of a multi, and this map is... This map, no mod's brutal. DT was a different story, and it was very upsetting to play, but seeing this map played as expected and as it should have been, I'm definitely intrigued to see what scores do get pulled out here.
Yeah, and, you know, it feels like the scores we see on this pool have been as clearly delineated as the pick strategy has been, right? You know, the mechanics maps have resulted in very good scores and some full combos and such, whereas the non-mechanics picks, you know, we went into Chocobo, we went into Prey Nightly. Both of those were maps on which a majority of the players really struggled, so we'll see if they can kind of settle in perhaps on the non-mechanics maps, the maps demanding a little bit of a different skill set from the players. And like we've been saying, you know, you hope to see Nation doing well with their own pick strategy, continuing, you know, this really push-pull back-and-forth affair. But you see already, instantly, it's just an awkward couple of alt patterns and several players breaking early on. It's Nev, Super Knight, Grippe, and Melver all to fall in this intro. It's just got some weird stuff to it. The cursor control required for these tapping patterns is quite challenging. And so you've got to settle into the map, and you've got to hope that you can manage to keep your cursor on the circles all the way through. And look at what happens on those space patterns. It causes breaks.
Yeah, those spacings can absolutely cause catastrophe if you're not careful, and I've got to put a bit of respect here on Grippe. I saw a miss, and then I saw an immediate cursor dance to readjust. It's understandable, but honestly, in this map, it feels like cursor dancing might even be a small bit of the play. Tablet does find an unfortunate break, but still holding a strong accuracy side of things, and, you know, still on the good side of things when it comes to that score advantage of about 700k as the next KI kicks in, and a lot of that slider aim does kick in, and a lot of those ult patterns where they can easily catch you out. Malva and Tablet both go down because of it, unfortunately, but yeah, these streams, they're a bit more space, not too, not too problematic, but Lucrece unfortunately does go down as well, and I don't think I saw a single person miss on the 1-6, but there we go. Yeah, that the wiggle burst, wiggle stream, wiggle alt section, whatever you want to call it, is problematic, but Hunter and Nev do hold on quite strong through it.
Yeah, and also Super Nye, worth noting, as Hunter goes down, helping out that combo on the side of Nation. Got two impressive combos over there, and really nothing to speak of on Grease Monkey. Already 2/3 of the way through, as with many maps in this pool, another pretty short one. And so those two big combos are doing a lot of work here for Nation, building up a 6 million score lead that's already going to start to feel pretty unassailable. Down goes Nev, but it's traded with Melver. Not that it really makes a huge difference anyway. Evert the next to fall, but man, I'm just looking at Super Nye. At this point on that Nomad 670 combo, that's doing enough work on its own to maintain this combo and score advantage.
I mean, yeah, Super is absolutely just proving the reason why Super belongs in their name, as they are putting out an insanely disgusting score right now. No one else in the lobby to match it. The closest people being Tablet and Lucrece, but unfortunately, they do go down. But they did the job. They did the damage that was needing to be done for that scoreline to stay in their favor in this ending. And even with Lucrece holding on, it's not going to be nearly enough to recover that score lead, as Nation do win on this No Mod 3, getting another point back for themselves. A high miscount coming from Super Knight, but being score v1, it doesn't really matter if you're going to hold on to an almost 800 combo on a map like this.
Yeah, exactly. He had the best combo in the lobby alongside Nev, the top two performers in the entire lobby. So the work was done. 13 misses and 6 misses be damned. It just does not matter. You've got that score v1 score in your pocket, and you're going to be quite content with it. And once again, Lucrece top scoring for Grease Monkey, but just didn't have the score of his own or the support. And that was a pretty comfy win, realistically, for Nation. I mean, 7 million score on a map like that, when you consider that their previous win was, sub 2 million on the Nomad 4, 670k loss on Chocobo. Like, there have been some pretty close matches that haven't quite worked out or have. This time, though, it's a comfy win for them. It's going to feel good. And hey, look at that. Grease Monkey just working their way down the list in the DT pool. It's DT3 as their next pick. They're just like in the DT pool. Nope, I lied, it's DT4. Okay. Well, it's still DT pool.
I thought it was going down the line. I thought it was going to go down the line, see how it all goes, but yeah. Oh, I've just realized what this DT4 is. Oh. Ooh. Okay, yeah, DT4 going into a crossover. So I'm not entirely sure which map set this is specifically, but from what I remember, really weird aim, a lot of 300 BPM burst sections, and a lot of ult sections mixed in between to make this map just a whole lot of awkward and a whole lot of pain.
Yeah, this is the 2021, it was submitted in 2019, ranked a couple years later, Kaguya-sama set. And you're pretty spot on. The insane diff here, it is very, very fast. It's 300 BPM. The raw difficulty, since it's only an insane diff, isn't super duper high. What you get from this in terms of difficulty largely is going to be coming from the fact that the BPM is as high as it is, matched with the fact that it's, of course, 10.3. So a couple of 10.3 picks in a row here for Grease Monkey, and definitely saying, hey, Nation, we are going to pick mechanics, and there is nothing you can do about it, because we've seen what happens on a couple mechanics maps in a row, and we're just going to we can continue that trend. I like this from them. I think it makes perfect sense. No reason to change a winning match strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the whole DT roster so far has been working out so comfy for them. I feel it's another one to add to the list. Bring in Hunter as well, again, who's just been so strong on a lot of those more tapping focused maps sometimes, but yeah, it's been something. Of not realizing that they actually picked DT4 and not DT3, throwing them off a small bit. Unfortunate. The DT3 and DT4 were followed very close together, so even we were confused, but it is what it is. Maybe a small roster change having to be realized, possibly, because I feel like those are two not very different maps, but quite what is the word? Significantly different maps. There we go. Flashbang DT3 mistype, yeah. Honestly agreed.
Yeah, it was literally within a couple seconds. I'm just not that concerned about it. I'm typically willing to give teams benefit of the doubt in such a situation. Yeah, those are two very different maps. Definitely want to make sure you get that right. No, there are unfortunately not timeouts, so I'm not sure what the issue exactly may be there, but hopefully able to get it sorted before the map starts up. And yeah, I'm curious, the match feels kind of crystallized at this point, right? You've got Grease Monkey just picking down the mechanics picks. You've got Nation picking the non-mechanics picks, and for several maps in a row now, it's worked out in favor of the team selecting. And so if this just keeps continuing, I mean, are we just gonna we can just skip forward to tiebreaker if this match just keeps going the way it is? So one of these teams is gonna have to prove something to us on the opponent's skill set, and I'm curious who that's gonna be, because when it's a team that's favored in tapping, it feels like that advantage is the biggest kind of advantage you can have. So we'll see if that keeps playing out.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen early in that they can definitely play the other skill sets, but the moment the second point was finished, it's just gone back, these teams being so strong on their own picks, and it's gonna take, you know, the start of the match to happen again for a flip over to happen, or a chance for tiebreaker to not happen, but with how it's going so far, yeah, that tiebreaker does seem like it's gonna be inbound, but you know, things could all change in the span of just a single map. It's all it takes, but early accuracies are going to be telling you right now this is looking favorable to Grease Monkey, but again, time will only tell. Looking quite comfortable on 300 BPM for almost everyone, but Tabletti does unfortunately go down on the longer stream, which is going to be a bit unfortunate. That side is making to the halfway point of the map and the first Ki.
And it's again the comfort level showing for Grease Monkey versus Nation, 93 AC, 91 AC, 95 AC versus, you know, 98, 99, 97, right? Grease Monkey just clearly quite comfortable with these higher BPM tapping picks, and this one looking to be no exception. Only player to miss so far is Tabletti. It's going to trade with Griffin. There goes Hunter. And, oh my god, Penguins falls as well.
Oh.
Wait just a second. This just got interesting as Nation had multiple members hold through that section. Lucrece, the only combo left for Grease Monkey. Are Nation going to be able to pull this one over? But Turquoise and Super Eye instantly fall. And now a 1v1 with Minefield Surfer, Lucrece, and Evert. And it's a 4% accuracy dip. It's a score lead to Grease Monkey. They might just hold on.
Yeah, without the miss coming in from Evert as well, yeah, there was not going to be much time to change that score difference, but it close into just a million difference. That got so tense right before the slow section. One misses from Honda and Gripper. I think Gripper actually a slider break as well, and then two misses from Penguinsy. That got scary really quickly. That confidence went from being so high to being a bit shaky, but you know, Nation unfortunately weren't able to clutch out that moment there. If they held on just a few moments longer on that ending, I think it would have been it, but that back and forth gets to continue. The trades just keep going on through this matchup now.
Yeah, that type of map is always so scary. It's so short, and you can just kind of do a little bit of cheese to get through it and make a map style that, you know, if the map were longer, would be probably heavily favored to Grease Monkey, but instead it becomes a lot more coin flippy. Boy, that would have been quite the heist if Nation had been able to hang on just a bit longer on those couple of combos into the ending, but not meant to be. And as I said, back and forth keeps going. We've had the free mod 2, no mod 4, no mod 3 picks for Nation. Pretty clear what their strategy is looking to be in this pool, but now maybe they have to change it up a little. Do we go something like the no mod 6 to back up that no mod 3? Do we delve back into the free mod pool with like a free mod 1 or free mod 4 pick? We also have 3 remaining Hard Rocks. Hard Rock 1 banned, but the other 3 all untouched. So again, big pool, plenty of options still available to them, and you're gonna start to see the mechanics running out and some of the awkward maps rolling in, and it is indeed going to be that no mod 6. Not a big surprise to see this picked, I don't think. It is a classic down Nawashi no mod 6. I think everybody knows what that means.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different map, very difficult map, to say the least. I mean, I feel like I struggle to differentiate a lot of mappers when I'm playing the maps, but down is just one of the mappers that I feel like you give me a map, any kind of map they make, and I'm always just going to be able to tell. I don't know how to explain it. It's just something unique about it. Right, it's just, that's the best way I can describe how different their maps can feel.
Yeah, you know, there was a period of time, right, you know, kind of that 2021, 2022 era where these maps were in every pool, in every tournament. It was the most, like, super clearly delineated map pool meta I think we've ever had. And every match you had a no mod 6 kind of like this, where it was awkward finger control flow aim. And I know there are people out there that got tired of that and didn't love those picks, but I have always had a soft spot for them because it's just offering something a little bit different, and it can really throw a curveball into a match where maybe teams have been picking into things like slider tech and aim and raw mechanics. Something like this where it's like, okay, we have to slow down, we have to consider every single circle, we have to keep track of the rhythm changes, we have to keep track of the awkward cursor control, really can change things up. So excited to see this pick, excited to see it played, and really looking forward to see how this one turns out on the other side.
Yeah, I'm very interested how this goes. The map does get to start as yeah, the more unique pick does tune in. Again, you know, naturally would say favor to nation. They've been very strong on a lot of these, you know, different maps. But, you know, as we saw with the last map, it could flip over. As we saw with the free mod too, it can definitely flip over if not too careful. But, you know, you do kind of see a lot of those doubles coming in early, a bit more of that control coming in. But it's still a relatively calm intro in comparison to the map, so let's see how that kicks off.
We get a couple breaks early on. Penguinzy struggling just a tad at the start. So will be advantage to Nation, and you know, this is a pretty consistently difficult map. It doesn't have huge diff spikes, but it's this level basically the entire way through, and actually is the longest map in this no-mod pool as well. It's 3 minutes long, which is, you know, decent when it's asking of you what this is, and you can see what it does to the players as Lucrece, Grippe, Tableti, Nev, Supernai all fall. It's Melver versus Evert on those full combos, and Penguinzy recovering to try to bring that score back, but the struggles, you miss a note, and you just chain miss, because, especially with Hidden, that flow aim is pretty challenging.
Yeah, it just feels awkward all the way through because it just doesn't feel consistent in its spacing, and you can see it all the way through. And even on those more triple side, they do catch up with Grease, unfortunately, but they, you know, it's not going to do too much. Those aren't the major combos to go down, but Penguinzy does also go down, trading out Supernai, which is going to be more of a problem for the side of Grease Monkey. Is, you know, that chance of recovery is slowly fading away, especially with Tableti and Nev having strong support and combos for Vert. So it's going to be on Melva to not only hold on, but to improve accuracy, and then the remaining players to just build that combo as quick as possible. But getting through this halfway section, it's going to be easier said than done, to say the least, especially with how awkward these flowing sections are, and Malva unfortunately going down with the Hidden, making it a bit harder on those flowing patterns, but you can't really blame them. I mean, Lucrece and Penguinzy definitely on the recovery side of things, but is it going to be enough to, you know, fight against two 500s from Nev and Tableti, and then the full combo from Avert? I'm not entirely too sure, as this map does, you know, still get to that almost last third.
Yeah, there's a decent amount of time and a lot of combo left with it being such a combo-dense map, but Nation just looking good, man. Evert on the continued FC with, you know, not unreasonable accuracy. Nev and Tableti with very solid accuracy, holding those big recovery combos. And again, Nation looking very strong, very confident in their own pick on one of these more awkward maps in this pool. It's a very impressive team score that's only looking to continue to get more impressive by the second. You've still got an FC and 3 big combos. Yeah, the recovery is there from Grease Monkey at this point, but they're already 14 million score down. The damage has long since been done. Barring a full reset from Nation, we're getting to the point where this one is over with, and just another good pick from the team selecting it, looking confident in their own picks.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do to fight against a score like that from the side of Nation. 3 1000 combos and a strong 774 from Supernai. I mean, I was saying about it being a potential possibility for it to be flipped over to, you know, get another point for Race Monkey, but yeah, I was so completely far off on that guesstimate with how insanely strong those scores are from the side of Nation. Like, that feels revolting to see how insanely comfortable they looked on a map that shouldn't even be that easy. But you know what? Sometimes you get players like Tableti, Nev, and Super who just go absolutely demonic on a map like that. And you know what? You've got to have so much respect for that. It's just honestly possibly one of the strongest team scores you might see this weekend.
Yeah, I was just pulling up, as you're saying that, just pulling up last night's match since they did play this map as well. And it was such a close scoreline to this one. So this match, of course, we just had 50 million to 33 million. Last night we had 55 million to 32 million. Really, really similar, really strong team scores from Nation and from New Zealand, doing quite well on the pick in both cases. And now, Torva, it is the last pick for each team. We're at 4-4. Both have one selection remaining. Grease Monkey opting into the final DT with the DT3, proving that this was not an entire mistype. They did want to pick it eventually. It just ended up being one pick later.
Yeah, I mean, now this is where things get a bit tense. One missed pick from either side, and those chances of TB go down the drain so quickly. But I mean, not too surprised with the DT3 pick. We were saying it constantly. They started picking DT and they immediately went down the line. They ran away with what they know started to work for them. But, you know, DT3 being a bit different from what I remember, being a bit, you know, bit tapping focused, which, you know, has been strong to the side of Grease Monkey. I mean, they've been so strong on mechanics. You know, he plays like Honda, you know, Penguin Z, Luke Reese, who's been going crazy on them. And then, you know, mixing it with a bit of tech as well on the side. I'm intrigued to see how it goes. Testing a bit of that aim, a bit of tapping, getting a good overall mix of skill sets on this map. But again, it's the DT category still. They are 10.3, pretty much in the comfort zone for Grease Monkey. So it's gonna be intriguing to see how this goes for them. And I'm definitely invested on the overall team score as well.
Yeah, this is, I think, the least straightforward of the DTs, right? DT1, DT2, obviously basic mechanics. DT4, high BPM. This one, throwing in some of those sliders and some of that control element to it with a little bit more of, you know, kind of a tech focused. It's that Chaos Lit style. Is going to be a bit different. And listen, we saw how close the DT4 was on the last map, right? That was a map that Nation nearly stole away once Grease Monkey finally didn't have something that was just pure mechanics DT. Will this mean that they can climb over that hill and get the break point, or was that a one-off? Will Grease Monkey look a little stronger maybe this time around? We're going to find out. It's another short one, just a minute and a half long, so we are going to get right into the last pick here for Grease Monkey. They'll either have a match point or being forced into getting a break point to avoid loss in the match.
Yeah, I mean, early in, do see an unfortunate miscoming from Turkeys, but, you know, there's still definitely going to be time for the recoveries. And, yeah, this map might end up being one of the more tense when, as you were saying, you know, when it's not just pure mechanics, there's still the chances for Nation to overcome that score lead. But, you know, they've been looking comfortable on DT overall, Grease Monkey Calf, so, like, it's still going to be that question of, do they continue that, you know, the powerhouse they've been, and Tablet and Turkeys both, unfortunately, going down for the side of Nation, which is making this seem like a repeating tale of Grease Monkey being the strongest side on DT, but Honda goes down, and if someone else is to follow suit, then maybe that stress does start to kick in, but it is 3 combos to 2, and the accuracy side of things in Grease Monkey is looking ridiculously strong of 499s.
Yeah, this is super, super impressive thus far from Grease Monkey on that 3-way, and as mentioned, that accuracy really good. Yvert and Super Knight are holding on, do have pretty good accuracy of their own, both have the hidden as well for a little bit of bonus score, but it's just not going to matter if everybody keeps holding. The break from Bloody is traded by Hunter, but it's still 3 FCs against 2, and that is probably just going to be all it takes. What a score we're seeing here. It's a late break from Grippe. There is combo advantage to Nation now on Turkeys, but down goes Evert, and down go their chances. Lucrece Penguinzi holding the LFC late. It's a trade with Lucrece and Supernai, and into the ending, Penguinzi. So the unfortunate result on the Nomad 1 completely flipped on its head throughout the rest of the match for Penguinzi, who has been performing so well. 3-100 HD DT FC to lock in the point for Grease Monkey to give them that 5-4 match point advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they took that Nomad 1 personally at this point. Like, there's no other way to look at that. They looked at that score, realized, you know, maybe 200 combo ain't gonna cut it. So they've decided to set, what, 3-4 combos since? Just completely flipping it on its head, going crazy with their performances. And honestly, it was well needed. And honestly, now well deserved for the absolute performance they've been putting out. But, you know, they're now at the point where they've solidified a tiebreaker. But now it's the pick for Nation to confirm tiebreaker or just to unfortunately end the match early. And honestly, I'm hoping for tiebreaker. Let's be real here. You can't go wrong with a tiebreaker. It's always fun.
Yep. You always want to see tiebreakers, man. It's just the most exciting thing you can see. The big question, of course, on our path to the tiebreaker, last pick Nation. There's some thinking to be done, and they're just going to keep on with the Nomads. This match has been, other than one map, it's going to be 9 picks out of the Nomad and DT pools alone, with now our 5th Nomad selection heading into the Nomad 2 last pick. I'm surprised to see this one, because this really isn't the kind of map that Nation's been picking. This is a little more basic. It's pretty straightforward flow aim Nomad 2.
That's my audio system, actually. Sorry, I completely cut out if anything was said. But yeah, going into the Nomad 2, definitely an interesting pick. As you're mentioning with the multiple maps going into just DT Nomad, very unique in what I would say for overall map picks. I don't think I've ever seen this before, but definitely interesting to see. But the Nomad 2, I think, is a bit of a gamble pick. I mean, we were saying earlier, again, another map that I would say would have been favored for Grease Monkey, but then we said that about the Nomad 3, and look how that turned out. So it's definitely intriguing to see how it goes, to say the least.
Yeah, I think you can throw a lot of things out the window once you get to this stage of a match, right? You're playing on vibes. Everybody is, at the peak of whatever nerves they may feel. Nation trying to force the tiebreaker, Grease Monkey trying to close the match out. And so it almost feels like it becomes as much about mental performance as it becomes about physical performance. And this is a map that realistically you expect everyone to be able to play. It's only 185 BPM. It's only 2 minutes long. It has a decent amount of flow challenge to it, but if you've played one basic Selena Nomad 2 or, Knowledge King Nomad 2, you kind of played them all. So as long as you get through the 1/3 section in kind of that first part of the map, it's just going to be about maintaining your nerve, maintaining your composure, and getting through the rest of the way without any severe breaks. So for one more time, possibly the last time in this match, we enter the fray. It's Lucrease, Melver, Penguinzy, Melwem, Nev, Isaac, Marius, and Turquoise for Nation trying to force the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and I believe this is the first time we see Isaac in play, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunate early miss coming in from them, but, the map does get its chance to kick off 2 minutes, so you don't get too many recovery chances, but you still get at least one, maybe two, if you're careful, as the map does get off to a full start. Those full flowing sections really kicking in. The 185 BPM streams really showing their head immediately, pretty much, and early lead does go inside of Grease Monkey, just from early misses, I believe, or early accuracy. And it's looking quite strong, but unfortunate accuracy drop coming from Melwem does flip it over. Oh, and that's a really bad miss for their side.
Yeah, as the combos do start to build a bit at that 1/3 mark, Melwem falling gives a decent-sized advantage to Nation, who are pretty well dead even across the board here. The 96 AC on Turquoise, not the greatest, but holding the combo is really what matters. Map doesn't get any easier, of course. You get into the back half. It gets, to this level of difficulty and stays there. So we'll see what can happen. But the four-way doing all the work you could ask for Nation, up by a couple million score.
Yeah, unfortunate miss coming from Never at the ending there, but it's three full combos to the side of three, but now things get dangerous as Turquoise does find the miss, but Lucrease does trade it out, so there's still the opportunity there, but Isaac with an unfortunate chain miss, Turquoise also as well. It is just Marius being the only remaining full combo on the side of Nation, fighting against Penguinzy and Melwem, both on such strong scores. The score lead does go in their favor, and it's just going to be a fight for their life. Melwem and Penguinzy both have to find those misses if tiebreaker is going to be the thing we want to see, but it looks like they're fighting for that point right now.
What?
Bancho.
You can't do this to me, Bancho. On the last map, you can't do this to me.
On the last moments, 3-0. Oh. Why? The client, no.
You're actually joking.
We've actually been trolled. There's no way.
Dude, did Melver DC? Like, I don't even know what happened. No, this is so sad. I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly sure that despite it all, and with the anticlimax of the century, Melver has DC'd in the last moments or something, because he's still did not disconnect from the match. I don't know. We're gonna have to kind of wait and see here a little bit on what happened with Melver. But I'm pretty sure Grease Monkey just wins regardless. I don't think it's gonna matter, but I still want to know what's happening with the actual score of the map.
Yeah. I mean, Why was it last map that problem had to start, man? That got so tense so quickly, but I think even with the problems, I think Grease Monkey had more score.
It's Melver, solo performance.
Let's go, Melver. Solo performance to close out the match. Holds on through the sliders. Unfortunate breaks kicking in, but hits the space stream to close out the map about 35 seconds after the map was already finished. Crazy performance from Melver.
Oh my god. I love this tournament client, man. It is so great. Oh, man. And you feel for Nation. Let's just say that. Because they were down to the last pick. I think just kind of ran out of maps a little bit there at the end. The slight coin flip of the Nomads, who still came down to a pretty close one. Only 3.2 million score separating the teams. But big score from Penguinsy. Solid scores from Melver, Lucrease, Melwem. And that is going to be the final nail in the coffin. Grease Monkey gonna win, gonna advance onward with that 6-4 final score in the match.
Yeah, just such strong performances from so many players, especially, you know, Penguinsy's recovery and redemption is the word I was looking for the whole match. The redemption after that first map. You know, Lucrease just pulling out disgusting scores every single map pretty much, and just the same goes for Southern Nation with so many strong scores as well. I mean, it was so well fought. The tiebreaker was within reach, but unfortunate ending misses just made it out of, you know, out of the question, unfortunately. But again, it's still such a strong performance from all the players, and I do wish Grease Monkey some of the best of luck going forwards.
Grease Monkey is going to wait on either quit school or dog breaking in the quarterfinals. And that means Nation will be waiting on the loser of that match down in losers round 1. So they'll have some good matchups to come next week. I think those will be pretty exciting. And hey, man, if any match lives up to what we just got out of this one, it'll be a great story because that was a heck of a back and forth match. So glad to be here and be a part of it. We do have one other match going on right now, so I am going to send you guys over there in just a second. We have Funiamorake versus Georges67. That is going on in the upper half of this winner's bracket as well. That one just got underway a few minutes ago. Funiamorake up 2-1 there. Looks like they are ahead by a break point margin. So we'll send you guys over there in just a second. Torv, I must say, first time casting together, it has been a pleasure. I hope the viewers enjoyed as well.
Yeah, 100% agreed. It was such a pleasure. It was so much good fun. And yeah, I honestly hope the other match gets to be just as fun because, you know, the other match is stacked as hell. It's just completely stacked all the way through. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, the outcome of that match to see how, you know, the result of this one will go into as well.
And so, with that, thank you for watching. We'll send you guys over to the B stream for that other match, and we'll see you there. One more match after that at 15 UTC as well. Hope you guys enjoy as Hippo Cup 9 round of 16 weekend continues onward.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the future matches. And that's all it is remaining from me, and yeah, I'm gonna peace out. So bye bye. I hope to see you guys in the Hippo Cup B stream because I'm gonna be watching that in the background.